Yusuf? Yusuf?
Oh, Mark, I was on mute. You can start.
I'll start now. I'll start now, inshallah. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. All praises are due to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, granted us once again this opportunity, alhamdulillah, to proceed and welcome to, everybody, especially the brothers that was, in lockdown for a couple of weeks, alhamdulillah, welcome back, So alhamdulillah, inshallah, we'll start by just trying to refresh before we go to our new lesson, which is lesson number 15. We are now at lesson number 14, or we did lesson number 14 last week, and I think it was just important, just so that I touch on it, just to also refresh on the homework, and as I always, but encourage us that always please try your utmost to do the homework, to your own, I would say, to the time that you have, as well as, as this a means of making a revision from your own side, just to confirm, that there is an understanding, especially with regards, the lesson. Very, very important, because as I say to us always, when you look in the homework that they actually give the tamarin, meaning the exercises, you'll find that it covers most of the lessons that we had done before. So we'll see this one here, for example, we did the question, the interrogative pronoun, as we spoke about it, or the particle, they refer to it more, like, we feel like hal and ah. And as we had mentioned, when hal and ah is used, the importance, I think, just to refresh, when hal and ah is used, in this particular session, we only did hal, but as soon as you see the sentence starts with a hal or ah, we obviously would realize that a question is being asked. And I think I used the example last week of the surah of Hal Ataka. Hal Ataka Hadithul Ghashiyah. Allah asks a question, where he starts off with a question there, with the word hal. And you will always find that in Arabic, when a question is asked, then you'll see the sentence starts with the interrogative particle, like with hal. And then obviously, because of a question, you'll see that your question is always answered in a proper sentence, or I would say in a jumlatul ismiya, meaning in a completed sentence, okay? A completed noun sentence in that, because you are asked a question, hal huwa kitabun, is he a writer? And katibun ma, and you will say na'am, he is a writer. Or then we see also that there was the question also, for example, when it's asked, then you will also properly, or probably you will also answer in the negative, where you say la. So obviously we can see here with questions, you respond with na'am for yes, and la for no. But importantly, to also, as we would say, as a form of proper responding, in that you would respond with a proper sentence, For example, the last one, hadihi, hal hadihi madrasatun. Can we see here, for example, once again, importantly, hal can be used for masculine and feminine, right? Because it is a particle, which means it is something that whereby it indicates that you are actually asking a question. And la also, which is your answer, it can also be used for masculine and feminine. But importantly, when you look at your sentence that is followed here, hadihi madrasatun, you'll find that hadihi is obviously feminine because madrasatun is also feminine. If that was masculine, it would have been, if it was mudarrisun, it would have been hadha mudarrisun. See? But because of it being the sentence part here, the response is in the sentence here. So obviously you'll see that therefore you find that this part of your sentence or your question here, that is always in proper format, whether it is masculine and feminine, but your particle hal or here, the response la or na'am can be used for masculine and feminine as well. I just wanted to reaffirm that so that we understand that, because I think that was one of the questions that did come about, yes, last week. Same as we can see here, can we see there? Huwa da'ifun. See, da'ifun is masculine and huwa is he. He is weak. So if it was, for example, if this had to be a feminine reference, and then it would have been in here, because huwa is for means he is, and obviously here will be she is, then it would have been how here da'i, then it wouldn't have been da'ifun here because da'ifun goes with huwa as masculine, then it would have been here da'ifatun. Okay, so I just want us to pick that up, because that is important for us to realize. So I think that was one of the questions. I can't sort of put it to the person that asked the question, but it was a very important question that was asked. That's the reason why I emphasized, as you can see here where my arrow is here, this whole section here, hal is the particle that stays as for masculine and feminine, and la also for masculine and feminine. But this part here, the part here, the sentence part, here, tilmidatun, can you see there? Ghabiyatun, because that two are agreeing in gender similar here, alhamdulillah. Inshallah, I'll leave it at that, because we can now go further so that I can just go through some of the...
Just one question. Can you have, for example, you have Al Hadi Madrasatun, but in your answer, for example, like institute is now masculine. Can you say La Hada Mahadun? Because now you go from Hada to Hada.
Now, beautiful. I don't know if you heard the question that Wasima asked. Wasima asked the question, like for example, if the question is Hal hadihi madrasatun, meaning is this a madrasa, right? Because madrasatun is feminine. But now the response is no, it is like an institution. And an institution is called a mahadun. See? So that is now masculine. So obviously your answer will now be in a masculine format. So it will be, you won't say hadihi mad'atun, you'll say la, or obviously your response will be la, because the question is this a school? Is this a madrasa? No, this is or this is, like we say, a institution. You say la hada, hada ma'adun, because ma'adun is a institution, and institution is a masculine word. Okay, alhamdulillah, that was also something important. So I think the lesson that comes from here and the understanding that comes from here is that when you form your sentence, the sentence must be in the gender in which your subject and your predicate will be. Subject meaning, what you're referring to, which is like the noun, and the predicate is most obviously about what the noun is about. Okay, so that is important. So I think that's obviously what that maybe answers the question. I'm not going to go through all the sentences. I think this is just the important one here at the bottom. Can we maybe just unmute? I just want us to, because I said I will always try and make a reference to the Arabic, and here's number 1, number 5, before we go to the new lesson. Number 5 means vocalize the following, because you'll see I make a lot of emphasis on this so that we can actually, through it also find the means to be able to get to know our vocabulary better. Okay, and when you see it without the harakat, meaning without the signs on there, you'll obviously, eventually be able to identify just as it is there. So can we do the first one here? As we can see there, how would we vocalize? Vocalize means you must put the signs on the as and the is and whatever on there. So let us look at the first one. How are we going to do the first one? Can anybody, or can I hear, you know, the response from anybody? Unmute yourself, you know. Bismillah. What was the
Halil
answer?
kitabu mufidun.
Come again?
Halil kitabu mufidun.
Beautiful, na? Halil kitabu
Kitabu
mufidun.
mufidun.
And say there, Halil. Remember, how is the question if you in turn refer to something which is indefinite, where there's a marbuta at the back. But soon as you add the alamu ta'arif, we saw it in the examples we did. So this, what happens is, instead of the sukoon, you put a e sound in there, which means you put a helping vowel on here. Call it a helping vowel, a vowel that will automatically, you know, allow you to go. But you can't put the a on there. You got to put the e on there. You see, so it's halil kitabi, and that will only happen in the case where you find there's a alamu ta'arif. You know what alamu ta'arif is? Must the alif with the al, because that will indicate that this is a definite word. Al kitabu means the book, right? But here, if we look at this one here, and can we vocalize this one? Everybody, try, come. Everybody.
Dalika fustanun jamilun.
Dalika fustanun.
Fustanun jamilun.
Jamilun. Beautiful. You see, fustanun, obviously, because it being indefinite, right? And therefore, jamilun is then the adjective prescribing or describing that. So obviously, that is why we find both of that is indefinite. The next one. Where's everybody? I just hear Auntie Rhoda, you know. Come, Vasala, come.
Al hadi ghurfatun wasi'atun.
Al hadihi
ghurfatun wasi'atun.
MashaAllah. Okay. Al hadihi. Can you see? In this case, you have hal, where you put the sukoon there. Can you see? The sukoon there. Hal, right? Okay. Next one. Tamani. What's Tamani? Is Tamani unmute?
Hal anti
Hal? Come on, Sarina, you know, go for it.
Al anti muslimatun.
Beautiful. Al anti muslimatun. You know, feminine. Hal anti muslimatun. Next one.
Hadihi ustadatun latifatun.
Beautiful. Hadihi ustadatun latifatun. Beautiful.
هذا بيت جميل.
هذا
بيت جميل.
Beautiful accent. Excellent. Beautiful. No? Next one.
Tilka tanuratun.
Beautiful. Tamani. Tilka tanuratun kasiratun. Ik ga niet vragen wat is in meaning van die. Next one.
Naam huwa talibun dakiyun.
Naam huwa talibun
dakiyun.
Yes, he, you know, is a
clever student.
Next one.
La ana mumarradun.
Beautiful. La ana mumarradun. No, I am a nurse. Right. And the last one. Naam.
Naam al-rajulu.
الرجل بخيل. الرجل بخيل. Beautiful.
بخيل, yeah. Stingy.
Well done. MashaAllah. No? Beautiful. Well done. You know, inshallah, don't worry. You know, I think it's important at this stage of our lessons that we need to have confidence also. You know, but have confidence, you know, into, you know, in because that's the only way how we are actually gonna, you know, get the encouragement to actually continue, you know, in being, you know, observant and also, you know, participate, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, we're coming to a new lesson now, and this is an important lesson because now we're going to start with the new section, and that is called the Damir. Damir means pronoun muttasila. This is an attached pronoun. Remember, we've been doing all or of the lessons before. We did all what you call it detached pronouns, right? Di muttasila. This muttasila, others was munfasila. All detached. Now, can anybody just point out to me what is a detached pronoun? Just mention any of them because as a yellow klomp wat ons gedoen het. Remember, a pronoun takes the place of a noun. Right. So if that is the pronoun, so what did we do before? I give us an example.
Like huwa,
Hada, huwa, hadi,
Yeah.
hiya, dhalika,
dhalika, tilka.
Tilka.
okay, that's it. So those are all, those are all what we would say, anta and anti.
Anta, anti.
That's all, like we would say,
Detached.
pronoun, but it's detached. Detached means it is loose, or say it's separated from the actual noun. Okay? So now in this particular case, when we say we're going to refer to attached pronouns, you now see that an attached pronoun is therefore a pronoun that is attached to the noun. Let us see what it says. It says, the attached pronouns, also known as possessive pronouns. See, it means it brings about possessive. Remember, we did something that refers to possession also was it inda. Remember inda? We say inda means I have. Indaka, you have. Indaki, she has. Remember that one? So now we're going to do a possessive pronoun, which means something that expresses possession. As, for example, in English, it means you say my book. It means it's the book that belongs to me, right? My possession. This lesson deals with singular forms of the possessive pronouns only, okay? As I said to us, we'll find that our book, this particular kitab, as we will go up to probably lesson 20, we'll find it's mainly to do with singular. Singular means like, like we say, the one onlys, later on we'll do like dual, and then we'll do like we call it jump, means plural, right? So for example, here we can see, this is as we have done thus far, kitabun, you and I have done, it's called a book, right? Why? Dommatain at the back. Al-kitabu was the next step, which means the book, where you added the al, what happened? The un had changed to a u. So soon as something becomes definite, the dommatain falls away. Why? Because the dommatain indicates an indefinite noun, right? Because now we're referring to the book. But now we're coming to possessive pronouns where we first add a ya. See there? Kitabi. See there? Ummi. Remember that I did something like that with us previously. Ummi, abi, ukhti. So as soon as you prolong the loss, so what happens here? Kitabu becomes kitabi. And when you add the ya, the letter in front of the ya will always have a i. You won't find kitabai, or you won't find kitabui. You see, you will always find kitabi, and this will be a prolongation here. Two length prolongation. Ons trek het lang vir two lengths. Okay? So therefore, very, very important. Remember, when you have the E sound, then obviously it refers to my possession. And there's various examples of this in the Quran. There's various of the examples of this in the hadith of, the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So please take note of that. Soon as you read that, it refers to possession to somebody, meaning my book. So if the Prophet says sallallahu kitabi, if Allah says kitabi, it means his book, Allah's book, my book. Then Allah is saying my book. And as I mentioned to us, if I say ummi, then I say my mother. If I say, if you say abi, meaning my father, right on. But now we go a little bit further. Now we say the possession of, the second person, you, male. Then it's kitabuka. See? So ka. So remember now, and please note that your pronoun is the last word of that. No, not the last word, the last sentence, the last letter of the word. Okay, the last letter of the word. Kitabu, that is your noun, and the possession comes here with a ka. You know, and obviously I'm just adding something which will come later on. If we would now maybe go for plural, you would say kitabukum, right? Your book, meaning to the people you find. Your kum refers to like more than 3 people. You see, or kitabuhum. Sometimes we hear that when we say Allah maghfir lahum, oh Allah forgive them, right? Allah maghfir lakum, oh Allah forgive, like you things like that. Okay, so here we're doing singular, therefore we use ka. Okay, we use ka, yeah, kitabuka. And for a female, you will use kitabuki. Okay? Kitabuki. And there's something that I want to mention to us when I finish this. Okay, I will do it later on. Because I just need to also reiterate to us, because this indicates possession, please, this will not influence the other part of the sentence. Because this is on its own. Remember, the pronoun here, it's on its own. Right? Or for example, if there's a masculine word, if the word is masculine, it can belong to a male and it can belong to a female. Okay? Similar with the particles. And because, I don't want us to structure our understanding to that everything that is masculine, yes, when it comes to the content or the context of the sentence, yes, we call it the mudaf and mudafun ilay, or we call it the subject and the predicate, yeah, they will agree. But when it comes to possession, it can belong to a male or a female. When it comes to asking a question, we refer to a particle. It can also be male and female, there's not a changing. I think there was a question that Jaris asked about, I think it was man. Man also who, man can be who it can refer, it's used for a female and it's used for a male. Man huwa, man hiya. See? Man huwa, who is he? Man hiya, who is she? Can you see? So you use man again, even though it is a male or a female. Okay? So just remember that, when it comes to possession also, a masculine thing can belong to a feminine as well. And a feminine thing can belong to a masculine as well, or to a male as well. In that, for example, sayyaratuhu. See? Sayyaratuhu means car, who, his car. See there? Sayyaratuka, your car. Sayyaratuki, her car. Sayyarati. See? So your last word, the last word then changes to a ya, it turns to a kaf, a ki, etc. And last, we find who, be kitabu who. It's a ha, Allah maghfir lahu, oh Allah forgive him. See there? Allah maghfir laha, oh Allah forgive her. See there? Kitabuhu, kitabu ha. Okay? Inshallah. Is there any questions? I'm going to take our time to go through this, because this is a table that I would suggest, maybe try and memorize it or put it somewhere that you can, refer to everything, because you must remember we are familiar with the bun and the bu, but from here, from after kitabun, from there, the book to her book, all these are, we would say, all these are now, we would say it's all definite now, because it refers to something definite. That a book was any book, but now we can say the book, it's a specific book. My book, a specific book. Your book, male or female, specific book. His book, a specific book. And her book, a specific book. Is there any questions before I go through the explanations, inshallah? I think I've covered of the explanations, in my explanation. So we can just maybe I'll read through the explanations, inshallah, and I think it will probably cover what we had done there. But if there's any question, please do not hesitate, because like I say, we're going into now water that's going to be above our knees now, so it's not a bit deeper. Okay? Explanation. Number one, when an indefinite noun, example, kitabun, is made definite, then it loses its dhamma, and an al is prefix, example, al-kitabu, we are familiar with that, right? So when the noun kitabun has an attached pronoun, it is always definite. In other words, the possessive attached pronoun makes it definite. Kitabi, kitabuka, kitabuki, kitabuhu, and kitabuha, as you can see there, there's no dhamma. No dhamma in any of these nouns here, right? So the dhamma automatically falls away. Most cases you find the u there. See there? Kitabu, kitabuhu, kitabuka, kitabuka, kitabuki. But kitabi will always, so you'll always add a kasra with a ya. And that will bring about possession when it refers to yourself. Okay? Then, that is why nouns never take the definite particle al when they are combined with these pronouns. Very, 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 very important fact. Please note that when a noun is attached to a pronoun bringing about possession, then you will never find an al attached to that. So if you must know, you cannot say here as al-kitabu, you cannot say al-kitabuka. You can't say that. The book of his, you don't say that, It will either be al-kitabu, mean the book, or if you want to say his book, then the al falls away and the ka comes on here to actually bring it, make it definite. And so you'll find the key will be added, the B, there the ha is added, the who is added, and all of these are without the al. So remember, the al is indicated when it's the book. Other than that, you will find, that all the other is, like we would say, the al is automatically absorbed into the possessor. Okay? And lastly, number 4, you'll see, note that the form of the attached pronouns differs greatly from the detached pronouns. Remember what we said, detached pronouns were all those pronouns that were separate, like hada, hiya, huwa, tilka, dhalika, different. You see, it's detached, it's separate and very, very important. It also agreed with the noun in gender. Baie belangrik. Remember, you couldn't use huwa for a feminine thing. You couldn't use hiya for a masculine thing. But when it comes to the detached pronoun, the possessor can be something that belongs to a male or a female. The noun is not affected by the gender of the possessor. Inshallah, I rest my case there. Is there any questions? Did I maybe leave something out there? Are you comfortable with that understanding, inshallah? Do you want me to go over it again? How do you feel about it? Is there any response, Bin Fadlik? If I don't get the response, then obviously I understand and I accept that we all understand that. Okay? Obviously, when you go over the recording, you will probably see, just secure that understanding. But I think, please take note of what we had mentioned there. Very, very important. It's very important. The pronouns attached and detached. Can you see there? Ana for I, but here they give you a beautiful example when we say the difference between the different. Can you see? All these are detached pronouns. Ana means I, right? But mine, see there, there's a ya. Okay? So for ana, you add the alif and the nun, ana. Ana means I am, right? But ka, see the anta for male, it agrees with the masculine format ta. See there? And then here we have for male ka and for female ki. See there? And you and auntie and huwa, who and her. Here we find ha, he for huwa and hiya for she. So these are all, this is the detached pronouns and these are the attached pronouns that brings about possession. Because as we said, a pronoun takes basically the place of the noun to explain belonging to it. Now we're going into something very, very important. Number 5 in the example here, which we have here, al-mil'aqatu nadhifatun. This is what we call it a jumlatul ismiya, meaning a complete sentence. Why? Because remember, see the al-mil'aqatu, that is a definite noun. Why we say al means the, mil'aqatun is a spoon, the spoon, mil'aqatu, right? See that we don't say al mil'aqatun, we say al mil'aqatu. Why do we say mil'aqatu? because the
Different.
ta has got the u due to the al, right? So that is the spoon. But now we look at the next word following. It agrees with it in gender because mil'aqatun meaning feminine, nadhifatun is also feminine, meaning clean. So therefore they agree in gender. But where the difference is this is not on the same pattern like al. This is not al. So therefore, I remember when we actually constructed our sentences, when we said if this two agree in pattern as well, both having al, then it would have been, like we'd say, both of them would have been a definite, I would say a definite adjectival phrase, right? Because then it would have been the clean spoon. But because this is nadhifatun, it is not the same. It hasn't got the al on, so we say the spoon, al mil'aqatu, nadhifatun means clean, so we'll say the spoon is clean. You with me? We did this in lesson number 12, I think we did this, you know, to indicate that how do you actually identify a complete sentence? A complete sentence is where you find the one is definite, and then this is now no longer the adjective to the spoon, which means to the mawsuf. It is now what we say it becomes the predicate, right? So that is the mubtada and the khabar. Mubtada meaning the subject, and that is the predicate, meaning telling you of the spoon. But it doesn't basically describe the type of spoon, you know? So alhamdulillah. So therefore we say, therefore, the example, al-mil'aqatu nadhifatun, meaning the spoon is clean. Remember the al there, as I said, the subject ends with a ta marbuta, right? See there, the subject tun, right? When an attached pronoun is suffixed to that, so you now want to say, you know, the spoon of his or the spoon of somebody's. Remember what is happening now? We said, as we had the example, the al will fall away. Because remember, we said that when you add a pronoun indicating possession, we would say an attached pronoun, the attachment that you're going to add, whether it's a ka, a ki, or a e, or a ha, or a hu, whatever, then you will no longer add the al because that attachment already makes it a definite thing. So therefore you can say, so when the attached pronoun is suffixed to it, means suffix means added on, achterna gesit, the marbuta becomes a ta maftuha, meaning a plata. Ta marbuta, remember the ta marbuta is a ha ta, right? The ta that looks like a ha. And that you will only find at the end, right? And I'm sure we've seen it a lot in the Quran also with the word salah. Salah ends with a ha-ta. But soon as you now add something to that, then that ha will change to a ta. Therefore, you will see there. So it will open, it will change like a ta maftuha, like they say, or sometimes we call it ta tawila, but they call it maftuha here. It means, maftuha means open. So it's a ta that is open like a flat. See there? So that ta now say mil'aqa. Can you see? There's no longer a ta marbuta. Becomes a flat ta. Why? Because you're adding a ha at the back there, or you're adding the, like we would say you add the pronoun at the back. See there? Al-mil'aqatu nadhifatun. See there? Nadhifatun stays the same. So now we will say, instead of this spoon, al-mil'aqatu, you say, al-mil'aqatu, we say his spoon, mil'aqatu, his spoon is clean. If you want to say her spoon is clean, you would say mil'aqatu. See, now you can refer to your, if you want to say my spoon, mil'aqati. See, the ha becomes a ya, and remember, that is the only time where you change that ta, which is u, you turn to an i. Mil'aqati nadhifatun. Can you understand what I said here? The mil'aqa will still, you know, will still be feminine, but the possessor can become a male of it as well. See? But mil'aqa and nadhifatun will still agree. It is just that you find here that your what you call it, your pronoun that you add, okay? That will just change from position. So as we say, mil'aqata malika, mil'aqatuhu, mil'aqatuha, mil'aqatuka, mil'aqatuki. See? The ta changed there. So that is two things that you must remember from this here is that the soon as you add a attached pronoun, it will always make the word definite. So an attached pronoun will never ever have a al in front. Very, very important. And number two, as you can see here, when there's a ta marbuta at the back, which means it's now a feminine word, that feminine word, that ta will change into a flat ta. And the marbuta will no longer be there when you add the possession in there. Right? Okay. Any questions on that one? Everybody happy? Naam? I can't hear naam. Anybody happy? Comfortable?
Naam.
Number
Tape.
6. Example.
Sahih.
Samichni? Excuse me? Anybody say anything? I know. Mil akatuhu, the example, mil akatuhu nadhifatun is a normal sentence. Why do we say it's a normal sentence there? His spoon is clean. It is a complete sentence. His spoon is clean. Right? But if you say his clean spoon, then that is not complete. Why? Because it doesn't tell you anything else, you know, about the clean spoon. Because you only have a noun there, like we call it a mawsuf and a sifa, meaning you're having an adjectival phrase. I'm just using this as an example here. You have an adjectival phrase, but there is no predicate on there. You know, there's nothing that tells you more about the clean spoon. But if you say the spoon is clean or his spoon is clean, that is a complete sentence. So we say here the example of mil akatuhu nadhifatun is a nominal sentence, meaning a sentence where there's a noun. Mil akka is the noun, and where the subject has become definite. Why? Because you added who on there. It is now a possession of somebody, so it's a definite spoon you're referring to because of the attached pronoun who, and the predicate nadhifatun remains indefinite. See there? Remember, your predicate is always indefinite. See there? Always indefinite. Soon as this word here, mil'akatun, nadhifatun, changes to an-nadhifatu, then it is no longer the predicate. Okay? Because the predicate will always be indefinite. It remains indefinite. However, you said that if the word, you say it there. However, if the word nadhifatun, that we refer to now, clean, is made definite by adding an al, then the sentence will change to a definite
phrase.
Ahsan. See there? The spoon is clean. Al-mil'aka tu nadhifatun. You see there? It's there's a difference in the format. I just call it the format. In actual fact, I should say the pattern, the pattern here, we find that is definite and that is indefinite, right? So that gives you a complete sentence because you're adding ease in there, right? Even though, as I mentioned to us, when it comes to the translation, we add in ease due to the proper English that we need to make a reference to, okay? Right? But now we say, al-mil'akatuhu nadhifatun. Can you see also one is definite? All that, a simple way that I would suggest you understand it. The one is definite, the other one is indefinite.
Indefinite, yeah.
Yeah. Al-mil'akatuhu is definite. Nadhifatun is indefinite. I took a sentence with his spoon. Why do we say his spoon? It indicates the other attached pronoun who, right? Mil'akatuhu nadhifatun. Okay? But now, mil'akatuhu an-nadhifatu, right? Mil'akatuhu is definite. Okay? We say, yeah. Now you might say, yeah, but Imam Dasi al-ani. But al indicates definiteness, but also remember the who. See there?
The who at the back.
Definiteness. See, and al is definite here as well. So therefore, both these are definite. So
Definite.
it can only become a complete sentence when the word that will be added on, or the last word is indefinite. And because both of them are definite, we refer to this as we would say as a phrase, right? Because we say clean spoon. See there? His clean spoon. You can't say his spoon clean. You know what I'm saying? That is literally how it is written there. But to understand it in proper English, you'll have to say his clean spoon.
Clean spoon.
Remember, this is of the first examples that we did, not the wording here, but the similar type of examples we used to do. Remember, we said that when we have a noun and the sifa, meaning the noun and the adjective describing it, and we find, you know, even though you would say the noun first, mil'aka is the noun, and nadifatun tells you about the noun, but you know, in English, you know, you would still say, you know, the adjective first, and then, you know, we'd say the
noun.
noun after that. But when we look at in the Arabic writing, you know, it means, you know, as we see here, the spoon of his clean, meaning the spoon or the clean spoon of his, you know. Okay, inshallah. Ek is maar moeg gepraat gaan. Dis aanvat man, Allah Akbar.
Jadi baik kita ni bang.
Amin tamani. Ja, maar ze komen hier van mij Ali, ze doen afspraken.
As COVID, as kan ni baik kita ni.
Examples. Okay. Now we can say here, you can, you know, we get examples like used on its own. Right? Meaning, you know, like your bag, Hakibatuka. Okay, we did this already. They refreshed on it for us. This is good exercises for us. Hakibatuka means your bag. So if I would say now, you know, her bag, like, or your bag female, your bag female, that would be Hakibatuki, right? Right, and if I would say my bag,
Hakibati.
And if I must say her bag,
Hakibatuha.
And his bag,
Hakibatuhu.
inshallah. So, you know, and I think the reason why I'm using these types of exercises for you to also practice, man. You know, you need to, like, for example, it's easy for some to read the book to list, Hakibatu, whatever. But now when you do these examples and you go and you do your revision, now you like sort of test, you know, your understanding of it by saying, and what if I say your bag or her bag, you know, etc. Inshallah. Right on. Qalamuha means her pen. His pen.
Qalamuhu.
Type. And my pen.
Qalami.
Qalami type. And your pen male.
Qalamuka.
Qalamuka. And your pen female.
Qalamuki.
Awesome. Beautiful. Daftaruhu means his notebook. Her notebook.
Daftaruha.
And then your notebook male.
Daftaruka.
And your notebook female.
Daftaruki.
And my notebook.
Daftari.
Oh no. Just remember when it comes to the ya, you just have to remove that u there at the back. No? Okay, my teacher, muallimi. Okay. And now, right, and if I must say my female teacher,
Muallimuha.
Muallimati.
My female teacher.
Muallimati.
Muallimati. Muallimatun. Remember, that is that is the female. So if you say my female teacher, it will be muallimati.
Muallimati.
Right. I'll say that. And then you say my male teacher, or I'll say his male teacher.
Muallimahu.
Was it toch?
Muallimahu.
Muallimuhu.
Right.
Muallimahu.
To tire you out that
Muallimahu, yeah.
Muallimuhu.
Muallimuhu.
Muallimuhu. Muallimuhu, yeah. Right. Your principal, female. Mudiru.
Diruki.
And if I must say now that's not your female. Your female principal, but if I say your principal female, meaning, so mudiru is most masculine, so mudirati, right? Mudiratun most, mudiratun is most now a female principal.
Mudiratuki.
Or you call it like a headmistress, right?
Headmaster.
So how would I say your female, you females teacher female, you female teacher, your female.
Female teacher.
Mudiratuki. Mudiratuki.
Mudiratuki. Remember, you put the ta in here, you know?
Yeah.
And that ta becomes a flat ta, remember, no? Always a flat ta, right? Okay?
Maftuha.
So I just want us to, practice with that, Like I say, it will eventually, in your mind, you will picture there must be a, just remember in your mind, you picture there must be a ka at the end, there must be a ha at the end, So inshallah, right? Now, when you use it with adjectives, okay, kubuhu means a glass, kubuhu al-jadidatu, right? So obviously,
Al-jadidu.
it's like obviously it means his new glass. Kubuhul jadidatu. I mean, kubuhul jadidu. Because kubu is a kubun, is glass. Kubuhu is his glass. And al-jadidatu means, because they are now both definite. Because they're both definite, they now become adjectival phrase. See that? Adjectival phrase because kubuhu is definite. And jadida.
That's ook definite.
Al-jadidu is also different. Right now? Finjanu hal kabiru.
Finjanu hal kabiru.
Yeah, Finjanu hal kabiru. That is also kubuhul jadidu. No, you don't say kubuhu al-jadidu. Okay?
Kubuhul jadid.
You take the falls away. But why they're doing this is just to indicate to us that both are definite. The reason why I do when I go through is like you find, for example, if there is no signs on here, then you'll have, but what they're trying to do is they're actually giving us the explanation so that you and I can pick up that this is a al here. You see that? Okay? Right. So finjanuha al-kabiru, as it is there, but you would read it finjanu hal
kabiru.
Right? So therefore you would say a big cup. Why? Because both are, like we would say, on the pattern of like they as
definite.
Right? And matbahukan nadhifu.
Nadhifu.
Meaning nadhifu is most like clean, okay? And because matbaha or matbahun is a kitchen, right? Kitchen. Now your kitchen, matbahuka. Right? For the female it will be, if you want to say your female's kitchen, matbahu ki. Right?
Kin nadhifun.
Nadifun, beautiful. Even though you're going to have ki here, you can't change ki, you can't change nadifun to nadifatun. You can't do that. Why? Because madbakhun is a masculine word, and therefore nadifatun or nadifun agree with madbakhu in gender. Okay?
Gender, yeah.
And therefore, the adjective, sorry, the pronoun has got no influence, on the gender of the sentence. Right. Now we go again. Here's another phrase. Kideruki thakilu. See? Kideruki. Thakilu means oh, heavy.
Heavy pot.
Pot. And obviously it refers to a female, right? Kideruka, because nowadays men also use pots, And not pochikos, right? So I must not say man kideruka. We can also be kideruka, Man's pakukos, by lekerakos sometimes, So, thakilu, okay? And then, talajati, see? But now if you go into that, talajatil qadimatu. Talajatil.
Salajatil.
Qadimatu.
Salajatil. Kadimatu.
My old fridge, well, okay, you know, and as you know, if you would say my new fridge, how would you say that?
My new fridge.
Fatima toen it was old, was you saying?
Al Jadida too.
Jadid.
Yeah, Thalaja.
Till Jadida too.
Tatu.
Jadida, no?
Jadida.
Jadidun.
Jadida
Now,
too.
you, but female, I'll say on the feminine, you add the tamar buta and why? Because thalajatun is a feminine word, you know? See? Thalajatun is a feminine word.
Jatun.
So, you know, as you can see, every time I'm emphasizing, you know, that these two nouns, they agree in gender. But when we add the, what do you call it, the adjective, you know, it does not affect, you know, it does not affect, or it is not affected, or the gender doesn't affect that, right? Okay, so now we've done, alhamdulillah, as you can see, we did phrases, and we did, like, you know, on the first examples, we first did, you know, just straightforward ones, you know, where we just had the, and these are all just, I would say, it's all like you say, it's not complete sentences. Okay, can we see here? Hakibatuki. What about it? You know, so it just gives you an explanation and brings about possession, but it's not a sentence. Why? Because there's no subject and no predicate. Right? There's no there's no mubtada and there's no khabar. Meaning there's no subject and there is no predicate. Right? And there on this one here again, both of them, this is an adjectival phrase. But now we're going to come to the third section here where they give us examples of complete sentences. See that? And remember when I explained to us in the introduction, how do we define a complete sentence? We find that one is definite and the other one is indefinite. Right?
Indefinite, yeah.
Now you need to just, is this the pattern? Is this the adat? Adat means, is this the pattern? Let us see. Sa'ati jamilatun.
Jamilatun.
Sa'ati means, that's definite, right?
Yeah.
But jamilatun is
indefinite.
Indefinite. And that's the reason why you have the is there. So, sa'ati, my watch. And why do I say sa'ati? You know, sa'atun is most like the noun, right? And you make possession to it because of it being feminine. There's a tamar buta at the, at the end. When you now make it into possessive, or we would say what happens, you change that to a flat ta. They see that? Tamar buta change into a ta'u, ta'wila, as they say, an open ta. So it's sa'ati jamilatun. Jamilatun gender with sa'atun, right? Sa'ati jamilatun. Next one. Sahnuka.
Sahnuka maksurun.
Maksurun. Sahnu is a plate. Sahnun, right? It's a plate. Sahnuka means your plate. Your male plate. Maksurun. Maksurun is broken. Masculine form. Why? Because sahnun is a masculine. Righto. Shawkatuki. Nadifatun. Shawkatun.
Shawkatun.
Shawkatuki. Nadifatun. Shawkatun is a fork, but your fork female, you know? You female's fork. Your fork. Shawkatuki, the ta, once again, ta marbuta changes to a flat ta, right? Or open ta. Nadifatun agrees with shawkatun in gender, right? Nadifatun, right? If you wanted to say if you want to say your plate is clean, how would you say that? Because there's a word for plate.
Your plate is clean.
Yeah.
Sahnu. Sahnu. Sahnatu nadhifun.
That's it. Sahnatun
nadhifun.
Nadhifun, right? Because masculine, sahnun is a masculine word. Therefore, as you can see, broken here, because the feminine form of maksurun will be
Maksuratun.
maksuratun. See that? There we are. Right. That is how that is how we should actually, or I would recommend that we do our
The
muraja'ah,
plate
right?
is clean.
Sayyaratuhu qadimatun. Sayyaratuhu, we know by now that is a
His
car.
car.
Any person who possesses a car and they don't know by now, in this class, and they don't know that Sayyaratun is a car, then we take it. Ik kan nou maar kry nie.
Voilà, bicycle given.
The Arabic word name is Sayyaratun in Avitaki. So Sayyaratuhu Qadimatun. Sayyaratuhu Qadimatun. Why? Sayyaratun, once again, is feminine. Therefore, Qadimatun is also feminine. The last one, Furnuha Saghirun. Furnuha is oven. Her oven is small. Saghirun is. I don't. Let's see what is here. New vocabulary. Oh, is amper. Hier is amper oor. 'n lang klas gewees vanaand. Okay. Kalimatun jadidatun. Mat'amun. Okay, I think maybe we can unmute and then we can maybe just exercise the vocal cords a bit, just to strengthen our reading again. Okay. This one here,
Mat'amun.
Is a
Restaurant.
Ta'amun. Ta'amun, can you say ta'amun?
To eat.
Eating, okay, fine. Then kidarun is a pot.
Kidrun.
Kidarun. Okay, or kidrun.
Ibriqun.
Means a pot. A jug.
Ibrikun. Ibrikun.
Righto. Righto. This one here. A drawer. Durjun. Okay, so obviously, we use the drawers a lot. So skryf maar sticker op die drawer daar, Durjun,
Durjun.
Right. A company.
Sharikatun.
Not Sharikatun.
Sharikatun.
No, quick, don't say Sharikatun. Sharikatun. Okay, Sharikatun is a company. This is now not company that you have, but I'm talking about a business, business right?
Company.
Okay, Furnun is an oven.
Furnun.
Oven, yeah. No? A fridge is Talajatun. Okay. And a glass is called a
Kubun.
Okay, Kubun. They don't put the sukun there, but it's a sukun comes there, so whatever. Kubun. Kubun. Right? Here's another word for window. Shubakun. Okay.
This is a masculine window. The other is not referred
Feminine window.
But I think you must maybe, try and look it up in the dictionary and see what, the references are to that. I didn't actually. And then the last one here is cupboard is dulabun. Dulabun, inshallah.
Dulabun.
Inshallah, I think that is our lesson for this evening. Alhamdulillah, I think you'll see as we're going to go further now. It's this is one of the toughest lessons that we have done so far. I would like really to encourage us. Sit down with us a week, inshallah. I don't want us to you might become a bit despondent in the ass as a kanati on only and amal day, but don't lose hope. La ta'asum bir rawkhillah. Have hope in the of Allah, so that's important, that we say. Try, practice, and so inshallah, as I promised us, inshallah, I've got that exercises for us as well. I didn't want to feed it through yet because I thought about it and I thought it's better for us that I want us to get proper understanding of this, but I'm going to feed it through soon as we go into another type of explanation, you know, with regards to our lessons that we, you know, that we do, inshallah. Inshallah, if there's any questions that we have, you know, I would like us to maybe raise it, and maybe if you pick up anything, you know, during during your session, you know, that you do your revisions or you go or you listen to the YouTube recording as well, you know, if you pick up anything there, please feel free, you know, to make connection, because I want us to, now's the time. I mean, look at the bottom here, page number 60. You know, there's a lot of pages that we've covered, and I can't see us not finishing off. You know what I'm going to say? Ek het 'n groot sonne wie het afgefinish nie. I mean, you know, met die hele klas nie. Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy. I must say to all the people that regularly attend, you know, inshallah, and I also do, you know, I do follow up with people whom I don't see on here, in that, you know, and they all give me sort of confirmation and assurance, you know, that they are with still, you know, but it's important, you know. I mean, it's a sacrifice we made, and I think it is just like at the end of the whole session, we would say, you know, alhamdulillah, it was worth it spending, you know, the hour or the hour and 20 minutes, you know, and at least it's something that you can benefit, you know, even, you know, further ahead, you know. And I think it will be a motivation for you to go further, you know, with the studies of it, inshallah. Because I can assure you, if we understand all this, and we do, and ik was so bang om die woord exams te gebruik, you know, dan skrik ek die klas nie maar af, you know.
Imtihan.
But if it is an exam, there will also be an open book exam, you know. Because I mean, I'm not certified to give you a certification. You know, because by means is by they're very how can I say, they're very they look forward to certification, you know. This is my certificate that you know, attained for this and whatever. But sometimes you have all the certification, but then you don't actually know the practice, or you can't actually apply it, you know. So let us only but be of those who can apply it, and we put it into practice, because any language that you learn on, you know, will always be a benefit to you. Any language, you know, any language that when you get the opportunity, I think you must take it, you know, any language, because it's good to understand languages, and through languages you understand cultures, and that you'll see how you'll really appreciate, you know, the creation of Allah, and you will realize, you know, I would say the supremacy and the majesty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where you find that so many different dialects, but people still understand one another. Inshallah, alhamdulillah. So I will conclude with that. Is there any questions? Anything you want to know? Inshallah.
No question,
Yeah.
Master Imam. Just as word of encouragement to the other students. I see next week, obviously, we'll be going to lesson 16, which means we're halfway through, because there's only 32 lessons in this book.
MashaAllah, soos wat Boeba maak. Ek kan as jy iemand met 'n pot boeba maak en maar steed op die
That one, Imam. That one we're going to, so we can have something.
Now, well done, alhamdulillah. Yeah, no, inshallah, do so. You know, what I'm saying is, alhamdulillah, is halfway through. Well done, man. And I think, you know, it's you can comfortably say, alhamdulillah, we did quite a bit, man, quite a bit. And you should be able to see. Well, what we're gonna do is, like on Tamani's question earlier on in the year, not the year, but you know, in the semester, if I can call it that. When Tamani asked, what about book 2 and book 3 and all that, you know? Those are all things that is possible, you know. But I think, well, what would be good for us when we complete book 1, then we're gonna go a bit. We'll then bring in a bit of conversational Arabic, man, you know, with a textbook, you know, where we will do different scenes. But then you'll see you'll find that the participation of the class will be different. It would have been better, like you would say, if we were all like it was a scene, you know, that we could have all sit together and whatever. But inshallah, this platform would also help, because I mean, as we see, we are all far, far away from one another, but yet we can have the opportunity to, and I'm sure we can do it, and we sort of play a scene off in that, you know, for example, we do a meeting. We have a meeting, like there's a conversation about the meeting, but you'll see what is going to happen is that I found it a lot with students that they now would act it, you know, as if they are conversing in the language, man. And I think that is the beauty. They will now say, Hada waladun, Hada waladun. You know, there will be an expression with regards to what they are actually understanding, because you will speak now and understanding each other. Anyway, shukran very much, you know, for us, you know, for once again, for everyone for attending. If there's no questions, inshallah, we will put salams, inshallah, you know. Assalamu alaikum for each and everyone, inshallah. And I also just want to say shukran to Yusuf. You know, he's busy with his work, but yet still he was able to accommodate us, you know, to still host, you know, this session that we had. So shukran once again, Yusuf. And I see you're not there, but that's it. Shukran, Yusuf. Shukran very much, man. We really appreciate, and you know, your effort that you put in, and alhamdulillah, may Allah Ta'ala really reward you, you know, for making this possible for us. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah. To each and everyone, and shukran, and have a good night's rest, inshallah.
Ameen. Ameen.
Forward to seeing one another again, inshallah, you know, and look after yourself well.
Shukran.
Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Tamaan, ik wacht voor jou, kanaal. We nog niet praten en draad je het.
Maar wanneer hij bike afstoffen, dan kan hij recht krijgen. Hij bike afhalen. Dat is bizar. En Yusuf ook. Yusuf ook, imam. En dat een nieuwe bike, maar over 5 jaar nog gereden in die bike.
Nu kan iemand weggooien ook hier, kanaal. Ja, ik blijf uitstel.
Nee, zijn knie. Hij zei maar zijn knie voor je toch.
Hij zal afvallen, is weggaan. You know? Het gebied gaat om krijgen.
Hij is nog niet terug, hè?
Nee, is het zo. Hij was op die klas.
Hoe is hij al af in die klas dan?
Af van die klas. Oké.
Inshallah, imam. Alaikum salam.
Rahmatullah. Inshallah.
Oké, alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.